Real quick, a couple things. Jeff Strickland, I've been at Mill Valley 10 years now. I've been in this area for, I can call it home now. Moved up here during college, all of course baseball related, and great place to be in. I appreciate you guys coming out. On the outline, I'm actually going to kind of reverse it and talk about each thing in that fundamental drill series, and that might help you guys a little bit. The topic we're speaking about today is maximizing practice time. And a lot of you guys, how many of you are already started doing stuff indoors? Yeah, and that's half the season is indoor stuff. So everything that I give you today, you can do indoors or you can do outdoors. And we're going to start with some team-based stuff. And then we got, this is Mr. Tanner Reed. He graduated last year. He was our starting shortstop. He's now at Johns County Community College. And then we got a proud dad here somewhere, Mr. Reed, to his Coach Reed, Shawnee Mission West coach. That's his dad. So he's going to help us out, middle infield guy, and he'll be kind of our model today. I'm going to get right into the nuts and bolts of this because I know we're running a little bit behind. So if you guys look on the outline, and I'm going to take you through each one of these things very quickly. And it says, let's see here. Let's go to maybe I have a different version of this. It says teamwork. And it says teamwork, this basic drill series. It's best outside, but you could do it in something like this. You could easily do this. If you have 3 or 4 coaches, you can run through this. Most of this is real basic stuff, but it's a lot of good stuff also. Something else, my most enjoyable, and I don't know if Tanner knows this, but my most enjoyable part of the spring season is actually teaching kids little nuances of baseball. One of the things I wrote on my outline was it's never too young to teach baseball. And Coach Lang, I watched him do the indoor stuff and infield stuff and a lot of indoor drills. Talked about some of the fundamental things. I'm going to piggyback on that. I'm going to try not to repeat what Coach Buckland and Wiles did. So I'm going to look at a team aspect, and then I tell anytime a kid comes to us and says to myself, Coach Stinnett, hey, why do we do it this way? We try to answer them. So for instance, just talking to a gentleman about 20 minutes ago about this. For instance, so if we got Tanner here is down in fielding position, and you'll notice he is slightly left of center. If a kid comes up to us and says, hey, why are we slightly left of center? I'm not just going to say, that's how we do it. Okay, we're going to tell them why are we left of center, because we always want to break down left towards first base in case we don't field the ball cleanly. So we're always going to do that. So let's go with this. We're going to go with teamwork. This thing is awesome. It's a variety. You can get through it in about, with rotations and stuff, about 40 minutes. And it touches on so many different things here. So you got Station 1. What you'll notice is, and the key is to have 3 or 4 different coaches. Some coaches maybe know more about one thing, like working with middle infield or your pitchers, your first baseman or outfielders. Get them to their strengths, but don't let them stay in their strengths. Make them come out of their comfort zone. So if you look at this, and at any point, yell at me, say, hey, why do you do it this way? Or what's this mean? Please stop me, because half of this is just asking me why we do this stuff. So if you look at that fundamental drill series, Station 1, pitcher covering first base. What do we do when pitcher covers first base? Who's throwing it to him? Is a coach throwing it to him? Well, if you look at the next step, it says first baseman taking ground balls. So there's 2 people right there. You got a coach, you could do a player rolling ground balls to our first baseman. Okay, pitcher covering first base. How do you guys teach? There's 2 methods of covering first base on that play. There's the old school, which is what are they supposed to do? Get inside the baseline, the banana route, stay inside the baseline, hands up, all of that. We don't do that. We don't like that. And the only reason why, I'll tell you why, we like to make a direct path to the base. Why do you think that would be? It's faster. Okay, it's not genius stuff here. None of this is. It's because it's faster. So those two guys, there's your first baseman, and first basemen get forgotten a lot because everybody wants the fancy middle infield guys and do all those plays. So there's two guys. Second base are taking feeds from shortstop, our different types of feeds. So you'll notice here, you got that ball. So I'm a shortstop. This is a great area where you can talk about proper feeds. We like to throw a dead ball, easy dead ball. You can do a palm ball. Dead ball means no rotation. Okay, absolutely no rotation. Let's go, where'd that base go? Don't worry about it. He has different places that he can set up on the bag. He can set up, let's say he's taking a ball from third base. So he's going to be outside on the back part of the bag. Third baseman's going to throw it on the outside. Notice he came to the inside. Another thing you can do, let's go left foot read. So you can go left foot read. And these are the things you can break down into little areas with the kids in these drill series. Notice that we rotate on this in each one of these stations every 4 minutes. So if you got little kids, they're only in one group for 4 minutes, which is great. But don't ever try to rush through those. Always take the time and say, this is what you got to do. So you got left foot on, never should be late, okay? And then you read and react to the flight of the glove or the ball. So you got that. Let's go behind, read, and right there. And let's do a come across, okay? And he's going to come across and go that way. Break down all those different things. So you got your middle guys working on that. Oh, and on our flips. We usually, good terminology, low to high, but never come up too high. So we're here, flip, and you work your communication. Notice that I said flip. We want these guys communicating this, and it's all about timing. A flip versus replace, and that's going to screw up your timing. So we preach these kids. It's never okay not to talk. Let's go to the next thing. What else would they be doing? Catchers, back picks. This is one of my favorites. And we're very lucky in our program. We've had the Garrison brothers, and now we got another really nice player coming up. Catchers, we do sleeper picks. That's another station. Sleeper pick is exactly what it sounds like. You get the guy at third base sleeping, and you throw it on the back side of the bag. Your catchers are working at, and you never forget about your outfielders. Now, I know inside you can't do fungos, okay, necessarily. You might have to roll the ball, but talk about the proper form. So you got every kid working on something defensively for 4 minutes. And then you go to station 2. Pitcher fields bunt to first base side. One of the hardest plays for pitchers and first basemen is that bunt to first base side. Not physically difficult. Why is it difficult? Because what do they not do? They don't talk. They don't communicate. You've got second base throws from third base who's fielding ground balls. That's your second station. So now you got your second baseman still working those double plays. Pretty traditional stuff. You want to go to third base? We'll go. You got third base, ball right at him. Okay, there's second base right there. Ball's right at him. We'll do a weight exchange. Remember weight exchange? Here you go. Right at him. Weight exchange, and he goes. Ball this side, he just goes with it. And where did we say, and this is reinforcement on the first drill with our second baseman, he's typically going to be set up on that back side of the base and come across on that. Let's go to the next one. Yeah.
The first baseman's communicating with the pitcher. Is he telling the pitcher where to throw?
Yeah. Or who has it. Yeah. We hope it's not a really, really good bunt, because that is a difficult play. Left side's a little bit different, and we might talk about that also. Shortstop, pop-ups overhead. And if we have time, we'll talk about the communication. Those typically are called triangle plays, where you have a ball, third base, shortstop, and then you got your outfielders. We'll discuss that a little bit later in the communication if we have time on that. Catchers, blocking. I think it was we just got done with that series, so I'm not going to go over all the different blocking. You can switch that up also. Receiving drills we'll do later also. And outfielders fielding in a throwing situation. And take it easy on kids' arms. You don't have to always throw. You do that all the time. It's a lot of it's about footwork. Going back to what Coach Lang said over there, with if you don't have your feet right and you don't have good proper footwork, just like any other athletic endeavor that you want to do, everything else breaks down. So work that. They're working that kind of thing. Okay, station 3. You'll notice that now you're 8 minutes in, and look at all the stuff that you have already done and the situations that you have already done. Station 3, pitcher fielding comebackers and starting double plays. This is something where you sit the kids down, and what do you tell your pitcher every time that you got a guy at first base? What do you tell them? Who do they communicate with? Hey, talk to your middle guys. So and this is great stuff, and we have to remind guys at the high school level all the time, hey, find your shortstop and do this. Make sure they know on that comebacker what they're doing. So that's what your pitchers are doing for 4 minutes. We're rotating them in. They're doing that play over and over and over. And one of the first things that I put on here is routine is good. Okay, routine builds comfort. I think Coach Buckland talked about that. Getting in the box, digging in, doing the same thing every single time. This builds comfort. Kids know where to be, so when time comes, they know what to do. Let's see here. I don't think I'm going to talk about that one. First base, taking throws from second base, very basic stuff. Third base, slow rollers and backhands. There's different types of slow rollers. You can do a two-handed slow roller, which we will talk about. You want to do it? You got it? Oh boy, here we go. You got a two-handed. Oh, by the way, if you got kids that are feeding each other, instead of going underhand, we typically, especially if you're on a gym floor, we like to get the most traditional type of skip and hop. Get down here, and we like to go that way. Get that. That will traditionally get you a little better, a little more true type of hop if we go this feed. We'll wait on that. Catchers, pop-ups behind home plate. Did they talk about that over there? Is anybody? Okay, well, what's the first thing our catcher does? You got a right-handed batter up here, and you're a catcher. What's the first place on a pop-up that you're going to look? You're going to look this side. Okay, that's one thing you can talk to your catchers about. Second thing, what are they going to do? They're going to take their mask, they're going to find it, and then once they find it, what are they going to do with their mask? See, these are all things, and you'd be shocked. We've got some high level kids that come through our program, catchers, but you constantly got to remind them stuff all the time. So you find it, you take it, you watch Salvi do it, he chucks that mask way out of the way. Why? Because he didn't want to trip over it. All these little things here. Throwing situation, okay. Station 4, does anybody have any questions about any of those stations? Any of those? No? Might skip a couple because I'm not getting to where I wanted. Let's go down to Station 4 and look at the second and third items. Now you are only 12 minutes in, but look at all the stuff that you have gotten through. Station 4, second baseman, ground ball feed to shortstop. Same type of thing. Oh, and this is where our second basemen get to have fun. Basically, there's 3 different feeds from your second baseman. Pretty basic standard stuff here. So go to second base, please. You have your straight underhand flip. Make sure we communicate right there. Underhand flip right there. Okay, we have just our basic, let's say, ball's going to come up on you. Yep, that's our tabletop flip. Still a dead ball, communication. And then we got the one that's the fun one. This is the ESPN, top 10 play. This is our 6-hole under the glove flip. Okay, so we got 6-hole, backside, flip, and right there. And that's the easiest, best way to do it. All good talking points to kids, reminding them, hey, if we get a ball that draws us to the 6-hole, how are we going to flip it? Are we going to try to stop our momentum? No, we're not going to do that. This is why we do these things. Anybody get any questions over any of those? I'm going to skip around, and I'm going to go to some of the stuff at the beginning here. Squeeze plays, receiving, practicing tags. Another thing you can talk about when you get to tag plays with the kids. Basically, two types of tags. Our best type of tag play for our middle guy is just catch and drop. Okay, catch and drop is exactly, you drop it, you don't tag the runner, you tag the bag. So it's right on the bag, and we're just there, and we've got our sweep. We'll talk a little bit about the catchers here. Our sweep, oh boy, let's do it again. Our sweep right there. Which one's more faster? Of course, the catch and drop one. That's why we tell our kids we love the 2.0 and the 1.9 pop guys, but we'll take a 2.2 accurate kid. Statistically speaking, every foot that they got to move their mitt. Here, go ahead and catch a ball up here. So let's say we are 3 feet. That's about 0.3 of a second right there. That's a lot. So we say, hey, be accurate first. Be accurate first. I don't want to piggyback on what they talked about over there. Let's skip to, anybody got any questions about any of those things? Any general questions? Let's go to, I think I'm going to actually skip. Does everybody see kind of what we're doing there? The fundamental drill series. And the beauty of it is you can do it inside or out. And if you ever have any questions, and this is not something I come up with, guys, colleges have been doing this stuff forever. You go to, I picked half of this up from TCU, and then Arkansas does something very, very similar to this. So I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I don't know how much time we got here. I don't see Mr. Chalk. Okay, let's go to the front here, the very front page. And if we have time, we'll go back through the rest of the stations. Biggest thing that I see, I don't need you right now. You go hang out. Give me that ball. Hey, Tanner, can you get me that bat real quick? Thanks. Biggest thing that I see is there's a lot of standing around in youth practices. Thanks a lot. I go to these practices and I see 6 guys, and I think it's gotten a lot better. 6 guys that are all standing around getting ground balls. And that's the worst thing. One, it becomes, what's one of the reasons why kids get out of baseball? Because it's what? It's boring. It is the last thing. It's not boring. So I love to see when we have guys moving around in different stations. That's why I give you that fundamental drill series. I also think, and I am a horrible, horrible culprit of this sometimes, the most fun aspect of coaching is actually the teaching part. It's not just saying, hey, we're going to do this drill and kind of works this. You got to tell kids why. And I am going to talk a little bit about what Coach Buckland talked about. Yeah, don't forget to teach. So I'll give you a for instance. Instead of just telling a kid we're going to do outside tee work or for an outside pitch, instead of just saying this is where we line it up, you tell them why we line it up. And if in 2nd grade through 7th and 8th and 9th grade, they keep hearing the same message over and over again, they might get it by the time they get to a varsity team or whatever the case may be. So like, for instance, where would I set this up? If I tell a kid, and you'd be surprised, I have freshmen that come into our program that play 88 games a summer, and they don't know the 3 basic tee positions. And it's frustrating because they pay a lot of money for those 88 games. So if we were to tell a kid, what's our proper tee work? What would be our proper tee work for an outside pitch? Where do we line it up? And I know some of you guys know this because I recognize a few of you. Where would our tee work be? Approximately where? Inside this back knee. Now, instead of just telling kids, hey, for an outside pitch, we set the tee up on the inside the back knee, tell them why, not just because. And we'll have freshmen, 9th graders say, why do you do that? Well, why would that be? Who tells their kids let the ball travel? Okay, what's one of the hardest things for young kids to let that outside pitch do? Come towards them. What's their first instinct? What's everybody's first instinct on an outside pitch? So first instinct on an outer half pitch is to do what? Go get it. What starts to break down on that? Your front side. What's your top hand? I know Coach Buck talked about top hand. What's that top hand start to do? Starts to roll over, and then that's your 5-4-3 or your 6-4-3 inning-ending double play is what that is. So tell them why we want to let the ball travel, stay strong, boom. That's a lot better hitting position than this. What's starting to break down? We get this, and we start our lean. Another real quick deal I'm starting to think about, have every one of your kids put the ball on the tee the exact same way every single time with the horseshoe, just like that. Why do they do that? It gives them a nice aiming point. We tell every one of our kids, you aim for the inner third. Hands inside the baseball. I know all you guys talk about, keep your hands inside the baseball, keep your hands inside. That's fine. We say hit that inner seam. It gives them something visual. You think about how visual these kids are. And are you always going to be able to hit that inner part? No. But you still hit that middle third, you're still going to square it up. You're still going to square it up. Anybody got any questions about any of those? So always remember to tell kids, why we do these things. Even something as simple as why we have a four-seam fastball. What we do with that. Questions on any of those? Coach Albin, any questions? Got everything? All right. Let's talk about, let's go with something we can do inside all the time. Let's talk rundowns. Did they talk rundowns over there? No. And let's talk relays and cuts. This is something, if you can't even get an indoor facility or you can't go outside, where can you do this? You do it in somebody's basement. You just talk to them. You can even throw it from me to you. You can do relays, cuts, and you can do rundowns. Let's talk relays, cuts, and terminology. This is stuff, we have a 70-page handbook that we go over with our kids before the season starts every year. And we review this stuff with these guys. So once we hit the ground running in March, we don't have to keep going over all of this constantly. But relays, cuts, what's the difference? What are your guys' terminology on that? So ball to the outfield, plays at third base. So what's the difference between a relay and a cut? We always use the terminology, hit your relay guy. Well, and with kids, that maybe triggers something visual. You're thinking about relaying, not always cutting. Because if that kid gets it, so we got our relay, let's say that's my guy and third base is over here. First thing we tell the guys, what do we say? It's never okay not to communicate. So what we talk about, we yell, hit me, hit me, hit me. Very, very basic. Hit me, hit me, hit me. We use this to line up. We're here. Now your third baseman's communicating. Difference between the cuts and the relays. Semantics, they're a big deal. A relay means what? You're wanting to relay the ball. A cut means you're either going to cut hold or we're going to back pick. Coach Lang talked about back picks. One thing that we love stealing outs. Love stealing outs. So let's say third baseman doesn't have a play at third base. What's he going to be yelling? Cut one, cut two. So what's that mean? And you got to do it early so we can remember where does everything start at our base. So here's hearing cut two. We're going to get around. We're going to back pick that kid that got a double out of that kind of thing. So make sure your kids know the difference between relays and cuts. Let's talk rundowns. Let's talk the most common rundown. Then I'm going to jump on to base running. Nobody's talked about base running. Base running is pretty important. Look at the Royals, how important that was to them. Let's talk the most common. Where's the most common rundown typically happen? First and second, right? Between first and second base. On a pick. Let's say your guy gets picked. Well, first off, what do you tell your base runner if they're just, oh my gosh, I'm out. Well, what do? Well, first off, they're going to take to second base. They're going to take off. What is their aiming point at second base? Well, You tell them to run towards whose eyes? Shortstop's eyes. Take an inside path, run right at their eyes, and hope for the best. Okay, because it's an extra throw. And what do you tell your first baseman on that pick? What do you tell them to do? Clear, get inside, clear a lane, and look to your shortstop. Well, if you got a 6'4" kid or a 6'3" kid running right at the shortstop's eyes, we may have gotten picked. But how long we got? We good? Hour and a half? What do you think? We good? Okay. If he's running right towards the shortstop's eyes, that becomes a very, very difficult play at any level there. Let's talk, back to the rundowns. Very quickly, things in the rundown. Get the ball high. We never pump fake, because if you do pump fake, who do you end up usually faking out? Your guy, okay? So we get that ball high. You never stand on a base. So if this is the base, this is your second baseman. We get the ball out of that first baseman's hand. Remember, this is going to be a tough play. He's going to clear a lane. If you got a good base runner that's been coached well, what is he running towards? Right at the shortstop's eyes. You get that lane, but you never stay here. You always cut down the distance. Ball, about 15 feet in front of you. The biggest thing is to get that runner at full speed. Think about that. You should be able to get that 9 times out of 10. You should be able to get it in one throw. Okay? Kids panic. So just real quick on the rundowns. Never pump fake. Okay? Get the ball out quick. Cut down the distance. Get that guy up to full speed once he's up to full speed if you got to run him back. Pretty basic stuff there. Let's talk base running. What do you tell your, most of you guys can have lead off. When's that start? Where you can actually steal and lead. Third grade? And then most of you guys are probably third grade and up. What do you tell your kids to do with regards to base running? What's the first thing they do when they get to first base? Who do they look at? Yeah, they're going to look at the coach. So we have and I think I threw this in here, balls, outs, strikes, positioning of outfielders. We have them look at all that. But the first guy they look at is they get their sign on the base. Remember I said routine? Okay. And how do we know as a coach at third base that they know how many outs? Well, what's an easy way? This, coach, every time. Once again, we get high school kids that forget the outs. It's very simple. Routine. Okay, so this is first base. We do the same thing every time. Left, right, shuffle, shuffle, or we do 3 shuffles. Our goal, so we go and we get kids that do this, and we talk about how they can't dance and all this, so you shouldn't have to look down. We're looking there, left, right, never hop. Why? Because if you're super aggressive with picks like we are, the second you hop and we pick up on you're a hopper, what are we going to do? We're going to pick you off every single time. And then we get here. Our goal in our program, and this is pretty aggressive, is to get that left foot at 12 feet. And for a right-handed pitcher, that 12 foot, that starts to get uncomfortable for them, because you're almost out of that vision, okay, when they come set. Yeah, they can do this and see that you're getting a pretty aggressive lead. But when they get to here, that 12 foot starts to make them uncomfortable. And what is it all about? It's about making that pitcher uncomfortable. Any questions on any leads or anything like that? Building comfort level. Okay, what is it? Now you're probably thinking, well, big lead, you're just trying to steal base on the lead. Length of the lead doesn't usually determine what determines whether you steal the base or not. It's the jump. Okay, how many of you guys tell your kids candy off table and all that stuff, or punch through or that kind of thing? We don't. A lot of times when we don't typically talk to kids about punching through. Okay, because then it starts creating false steps. I bet Coach Reed will probably talk about false steps in the outfield. What that ends up being is you get a kid and you tell them to punch through. What do they do a lot of times on that front side? They do that. Well, that's a false step. Think about bang-bang plays at second base. So what you tell them to do, on that front side. Our leads were right here, slightly opened here, and their hardest move is they're driving that foot into the ground. Don't punch out this way, punch up. So their pivot is strong on that front side. If you get kids working that, we work base running. The whole saying is, you don't throw to warm up. Okay, you warm up and then you throw. So a lot of times we'll start practice actually with base running drills. And remember we talked about kids standing around? Don't do a base running drill with one kid at first base. Line them up 4 deep. Okay, line them up 4 deep. They're all practicing their leads, they're doing all of that, and then they're practicing their explosive jumps, seeing if they can get to full speed in maybe 4 steps, depending on the age. Any questions on that? One thing I get back and forth with people, get kids comfortable sliding. At Mill Valley, we slide head first all the time into second and third base because it looks sweet, right? No. Why do we do that? Because it's faster. So that goes back to the thing. Kids say, "Why, coach, in my summer, my AAA, major, academy, elite level, whatever they're playing on, we slide feet first." Well, here's why we do it this way. Injuries have not been a problem in 10 years. Okay? In fact, we've had more kids hurt sliding feet first in. Okay? Naturally, going into home, we'll never tell them to do that, but that's what that is. I'm going to talk, I wish I knew how much time we had, about a couple other things. Anybody have any questions about any of those? No? All right. Let's go to some basic drills. Who was over here for Coach Buckland? Okay, I know you talk philosophy, but not a lot of drill work. A little bit of drill work. Okay, one of your best drills that you can do, I don't have a bucket here, is high T drill. Remember, these are all things that you can do inside, outside. Well, you can do a high T here, or you can, what we like to do is we put it on top of a bucket. Not quite that high. What is a high T drill? So you have kids doing high T drills, 5, thank you. High T drill, what are you trying to keep the kid to do? Staying what? On top of the baseball. Here's something that we can talk about real quick. Let's say you have no net, you're in an indoor facility, you want to be all offensive day. Okay, you're not going to work any defensive work. What's something people forget about? Every kid, I remember it, we all want to swing it, right? But what are game-changing plays? Guys that can do what? Bunt in the right situation. Is that something you can do in your basement or your garage? Absolutely. So let's talk real quick about bunting. I'm going to get that home plate here. And make it a competition. Oh, by the way, with regards to making everything a competition, when you're doing ground balls, I don't know what a great time would be, but we have, every one of our coaches have stopwatches. We will time, especially at the younger levels, older guys are a little bit better about this. We time every ball, and if we're going live BP or we're just doing infield like Foursquare, we time everything. So from the time the ball is hit to when our middle infielder fields it to when it touches the first base mitt, you have 4.35 seconds to get it there. And what's that get the kids used to? And that's somebody getting down the line. I mean, that's what we want them to get used to. You always talk about kids going up levels and the speed of the game. That teaches them to play what way? Speed of the game. It's all about speed of the game. I want to talk real quick about some basic bunting stuff. I think a lot of guys forget. 2 ways to hold a bat for like a sacrifice bunt. First thing, what do you tell kids to try to do on a sacrifice bunt? Real quick. Well, you move up. So if I was typically here, we try to get to this. Why do we do that? What's the reason? Well, now we got a better angle to get it fair. Second thing, we always have them, I said there are 2 ways to hold a bat. You can slide up like this, okay? Or with younger guys, we usually tell our younger guys to divide the bat into thirds. Why? Better bat control. Much better bat control for them. So if it's a sacrifice, they're here. Notice how low I'm getting. What's the key right here? This is at the top of what? The strike zone. So if it's over that, we're going to pull the bat back every single time. Just talking points with them. I am very, very low again. About 70% of your weight is going to be on that front side. And this is for a sacrifice. We've moved up. We tell our guys, nose behind barrel. And they bunt pretty well, and we bunt off machines all the time. What is our aiming point? Sacrifice versus a bunt for a base hit. Our aiming point is somewhere within about 8 feet off the line between the pitcher and the line. We go bunt for a base hit. Well, pie in the sky is a foot fair, foot foul. That's tough. If they can get it within 3 feet of the baseline, we have a real good chance on that. So let's see here. Any questions about bunting? Any questions on the 9 rotations? Anything? Any questions on that? I think I am done with that. I'm going to be over here if you guys have any questions. I only got through about a third of that. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be over there. Please. I also put my my email on there. Don't be afraid to email me. I like talking baseball, so regardless of where your kid goes to school, I don't really care. It doesn't matter to me. So, yeah, thanks, guys. Yep.